Okay, so remember the instructions solve. Whenever it says solve, that means find all of the missing pieces. So I'm going to set up a triangle. Doesn't really matter what your triangle looks like. Just remember you drew the triangle. It's not based off of anything. You just drew it. So this is, and remember, little sides, little letters are across from the big angles. So if this is big A, this over here is little a. The side is 22.8 feet. So already I have a completed ratio, which means I can use law of sines. I have side B. So the easiest thing to solve for first is angle B, because I have the other part of that ratio. Remember, whatever you're solving for, that's what you want to put on top. So if I'm missing a side and I'm looking for a side, sides go on top. If I'm looking for an angle, angles go on top. So I'm going to put angle A, so sine of 55.3 over side A. And then angle on top, so sine of B, because that's what I'm looking for. I don't know B yet, over 24.9. Okay, so far so good. Then let's do algebra before we put anything in your calculator. Do all the algebra first, and we're going to put it all in the calculator at once. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 24.9. And remember, that would be 24.9 over 1. So on the right-hand side, that cancels. On the left-hand side, I can write it all as one fraction. The 24.9 is being multiplied, so I can put it on top. So when I put it in my calculator, it's all going to be one big fraction like that. Okay, but right now, that equals sine of B. And I don't need sine of B. I need just B. So I have to arc sine to get rid of the word sine. So that's going to give me angle B. So this is what I'm plugging in my calculator. I'm going to type it real quick and then I'll put it up there. Okay, so I typed in sine and then I put a fraction bar and I just typed all of that just exactly how I have it written on this page. All right, so it gives me 63.88. So angle B equals 63.88 degrees. Now, before you go any further, this is ambiguous case. So in your MyLabs or on the quiz, they're going to ask how many triangles are at this spot. Now, it can either be none, 1, or 2. If it's none, it's going to give you that domain error like it did on Monday or whatever day it was we did that, Tuesday. That means no triangles exist. Because this gave me an answer, at least one exists. So now I have to check to see if 2 exist. So you probably don't remember, but the rule for sine is, remember we've talked before about sine, the calculator only knows how to give me one angle. But we know, because we know the unit circle, that there are really 2 places in the unit circle where sine is positive and blah, 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 blah. So I need to find the other angle, and the rule for sine is 180 minus what the calculator gave you. So if I put 180 minus this 63 stuff that they gave me, it gives me 116. Now, that means that angle exists. What I have to figure out is, can I make a triangle with a 116 plus the 55? So if I do plus 55.3, it's 171, which means there is still room for a third angle. So that means there are 2 triangles here. There's the triangle with 63.88 degrees, and there's the obtuse triangle with 116.12. So now when they say solve, I have to solve for two triangles. Are y'all okay so far? All right, so let's go ahead and finish the rest of the first triangle. So if angle B is 63.88, then I can find angle C. So I do 180 minus 63.88 minus the angle that they gave me, 55.3. So my missing angle, angle C, is 60.82. And now I need to find side C. So this time I'm looking for a side. So I'm going to put sides on top. I'm going to go back to the ratio they gave me in the original problem, the A ratio. That way it doesn't have any rounding, because my labs will get all weird if I round wrong. So I'm going to do sides on top. So side A, 22.8, over sine of angle A, equals side C over sine 60.82. So now I'm going to do all the algebra before I put anything in my calculator. So this time I have to clear the sine 60.82. And I can just plug that in my calculator just like it's written. That would be like this. $24.21. So side C is 24.21 on the first triangle, on the acute triangle. Now I have to solve it for the obtuse triangle. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to find angle C. If my angles are, so I'm going to do 180 minus the 116.12 minus the angle they gave me originally, the 55.3. So I'd have little bitty angle C, 8.58. And now if that's the angle, I have to find the side that would be across from it. So I set up law of sines with sides on top, going back to the original ratio. So 22.8 over sine of 55.3. Looking for side C. Clear the So I'm just going to plug that in the calculator. And if this was my triangle, it would be a side of 4.14. Okay. So we're going to solve another one. All right, so when they say solve, I've got to find all the missing pieces. So I have a completed ratio. I have the A's. I have angle A and side A. So I'm going to use that. And the other piece I have is side C. So the first thing I'm going to solve for is angle C. So since I'm solving for angles, I put angles on top. So sine 43.5 over 10.7 equals sine of C, because that's the angle I'm looking for, of 7.2. Clear the 7.2. So now I have 7.2 sine 43.5 all over 10.7 equals sine of C. But I need angle C, so I'm going to arc sine. So that's what I'm going to plug in my calculator. Okay, so it gives me angle C is 27.6 degrees. But I know the calculator can only give me one angle at that spot. So I need to check and see what the other angle is. And the rule for sine is 180 minus what the calculator gave you. So I do 180 minus the 27.6. And that gives me 152.4. Now that's a pretty big angle. So I have to check and see, will that work with the given angle to close up a triangle? So the original angle they gave me was 43.5. If I do 152 plus 43.5, I'm at 195, which is already too big for a triangle. And that's not even counting the third angle. That means this triangle, this particular set of numbers only has one triangle there. And it's this one with the 27.6. So I can finish solving for this and I'm done on this one. So now I need side C, or I need side A. What do I need? B. I need B. So I have this angle, so now I'm going to solve for B. So I do 180 minus the 27.6 minus the 43.5, which they originally gave me. And that gives me angle B, which is 108.9. Now I need to find side B. So since I'm looking for sides, I now put sides on top. I go back to the original ratio they gave me, so 10.7 on top of sine 43.5. That's going to give me little b over sine of 108.9. Then I just plug that in the calculator. And I get little b is 14.7 inches. All right, are y'all okay so far?